What's up guys and welcome to FPL Today. I'm the man in the know JNO and welcome to my team for Game Week 23 transfer thoughts as we look at the decisions that I am pondering over going into Game Week 23 and the transfers I might make. If you want an updated version of this team just before the FPL deadline, make sure to follow me on Twitter at JNO United and also on Instagram JNO_United to get the final versions of my sides. So we start off with the fires that I need to put out, and the first thing I'm looking at is just the general thing for this game week. The moves I want to make mean probably a -4 because as you can see below that, I need to bring in a Son replacement. I want to get in Marcus Rashford, and Alonso will probably be used to transfer funds for the move of Danny Ings to Marcus Rashford, as well as potentially Son. So that means most likely a -4 for this game week. I don't generally suggest taking minuses unless you think it's really going to improve your side. Both Son and Ings are either not going to play or potentially not going to play in Game Week 23. So I feel like it's worthwhile making that -4 because if both don't play, all I need is any sort of return for those two players for the transfer to be worthwhile. So those are the things that I'm looking at. But before we go into more detail, we do look at the fixtures, the next 6 game weeks for all the sides in the Premier League and try and figure out who have the best fixtures. And we start off with Southampton having a very good next 6 fixtures with Everton and Crystal Palace at home, Burnley and then Cardiff, Arsenal and then Fulham. That's a good run of fixtures in a side that do look more impressive than they have done at the first half of this season. I was going to try and have Danny Ings for this run, but I now think I may just ignore it. I know Southampton are doing better, but I just feel like, are they going to do well enough to be better than some of the options I'm trying to bring into my side? So I might not be bringing in Southampton players, but if there is anyone in that side you like the look of, potentially there could be some cheap budget points in that Southampton side. We then got Man United with Brighton Hove Albion and Burnley at home. Those are very nice next 2 fixtures, which is why I feel like Rashford needs to be brought into my side. Then it's Leicester and Fulham away. They do have Liverpool at home, and then it's Crystal Palace away. And then we have Tottenham Hotspurs, third on the fixture run, with Fulham, Watford, Newcastle, Leicester and Burnley, which could be a blank depending on how Spurs do in the Carabao Cup. And then Chelsea as their final run of those 6. That's a very good run of 5 fixtures. Of course, the issue is Kane is injured. Son has gone off to the Asian Cup, so we'll likely miss the Fulham and Watford game at least. Potentially the Newcastle game and maybe the Leicester game as well. I'm not 100% sure on the schedule for the Asian Cup, but I know it's about 2 to 3 weeks he's meant to be out of the Spurs side for. Then we have Wolves with Leicester and West Ham at home, Everton, Newcastle, Bournemouth and Huddersfield. That's a very nice run of fixtures for a Wolverhampton side that can do well against pretty much anyone on their day. And then Arsenal, Chelsea next, which is at home, not the best fixture at home. Cardiff, good fixture at home. Man City away, maybe skip over that. But then Huddersfield, Southampton and Bournemouth. So that is a nice run of fixtures for Arsenal. And then of course Liverpool, Crystal Palace, Leicester, West Ham, Bournemouth, Man United and Watford. And the plus side is it looks like they are not going to blank in any of the blank game weeks. So they are a nice players to have in your side for those blank game weeks. And then Everton and Cardiff are also teams with nice fixtures. I'm just not too keen on any of them. I do have Digne. Of course, he is an attacking threat as a defender. But personally, I'm not looking at the Everton and Cardiff sides at the moment. So we get to the first point and it's getting in Marcus Rashford at 7.5 million. I just feel like Marcus Rashford could be great value for money for the rest of the season. He looks like he's really confident under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and has been given that kind of importance in the side that could see him grow as a player. At 7.5 million in the last 6 game weeks, he's got 40 points, returns in 4 out of 6 games with 4 goals, 2 assists and 6 bonus points. 22 attempts on goal with 15 from inside the box, 13 on target, 5 big chances, a minute per chance at 23 minutes. 6 chances created, 2 of them being big chances. Those are great underlying stats for a 7.5 million striker. And in the Man United side that do have the quality in there to be a great side, I think Marcus Rashford and a bunch of other options in that Man United side could be an absolute steal. There is the issue of Sanchez and Lukaku in my head. I'm like, what role do they play in this new look Manchester United side? Potentially, if Sanchez gets given a run, he could be absolutely amazing. But right now, Rashford looks really good. Pogba looks like he's got a new lease on life. Martial and Lingard also players in my thoughts. Could look at their defence, but I think they're being so attacking, I'm not sure about the clean sheets there, although De Gea looks back at his best as well. So if you want to get save points with the potential of a clean sheet, De Gea could be an absolute beast for the second half of the season. But to go into a little bit more detail, and yes, a quick plug, here's a quick video that I did for my Patreons on the Patreon channel to go into a little bit more why I feel like I need Marcus Rashford in my side and the other strikers that I did consider for this position. And the player that stands out to me the most after looking at lots of different stats is Marcus Rashford, who is in the top 5 to 10 for pretty much every underlying stat for a forward. As far as goals themselves are concerned, Kane is the highest goal scorer in the last 6 game weeks with 5 goals, but Rashford, Aubameyang and Roberto Firmino are all on 4 each, Deeney and Ings on 3 each. And for attempts on goal, Kane again is one of those strikers that always is up there, but Rashford has 22 attempts on goal to Harry Kane's 26. And you're looking at a player that is significantly cheaper than Harry Kane at 7.4 million at the time of recording this, but I do expect his price to soar pretty quickly with the importance he seems to have in that Manchester United side right now. But it's things like attempts on target, having 13 attempts on target for Marcus Rashford at 7.4 million, compared to the likes of Firmino at 9.2 million with 10, Kane with 10 at 12.6, Aubameyang with 9 at 11.3 million, shows the kind of form that Marcus Rashford is in. As well as that expected goals, Rashford is in the top 5 at 2.83. He is beaten by Ashley Barnes, Roberto Firmino and Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, but again that shows that he's making the most of his chances and seems in really good form. If that form continues, Marcus Rashford's price will continue to soar. So that video was me trying to look at all the Kane replacements for my patrons that they could bring in if they had Harry Kane because of his injury for the next month and a bit. It looks like he's going to be back early March-ish. So if you are interested in that, some extra content I'm now doing on the Patreon channel, there will not be a drop in the amount of content on this channel though, so don't worry about that. But I am just trying to be a bit more creative and put in a little bit more work for the people that have supported this channel for so long on Patreon. We then move on to the Son replacement, and Heung-Min Son unfortunately is off to the Asian Cup. He could have been very important in this next run of fixtures if Kane got injured and he wasn't going off to the Asian Cup, but unfortunately he is off and I feel like he needs to be replaced. I feel like I can potentially make sure I've got the money to get him back in. I just don't feel like I should really have him sitting on my bench for those 2 to 3 game weeks that he's most likely out for. So with me wanting Rashford, which means an upgrade to Ings, I can't afford Hazard, which I did look at last game week as Son's replacement. So in his place is Gerard Deulofeu. Now he's more likely someone that I will transfer in next game week for Pereira if I don't have any moves to make, just to put some money in the bank for potentially Son when he comes back. The others were already there from before, Anderson, Fraser and Richarlison, but we have upped the amount of game weeks we look at to 6 game weeks, and the one that stands out to me, Anderson and Fraser, look the best options to be brought in for Heung-Min Son this game week. Heung-Min Son, of course, absolute beast. I will be trying to do a Son replacement video on my Patreon channel as well before the game week is up. But Anderson, 7.3 million, 30 points, 2 returns from 6. You'd like to see that a bit higher, but it's 2 goals and 1 assist, whereas Fraser is the same, but at a slightly cheaper price, but with 1 goal and 2 assists. Anderson with 3 bonus points, Fraser with 2 attempts. And basically goal threat, Anderson is higher rated than Fraser, but it's in that chance creation area where you can see 18 chances created to 13 in favour of Fraser, where Fraser does really come to the fore. And there is a period near the end of the season where Bournemouth's fixtures look really, really nice, and Fraser does seem to be a very important player in that side, and Bournemouth generally play better when he is there. And Deulofeu is just really interesting to me because he's 5.5 million, gets me to cover that Watford side if I still feel like I need to cover them, and he's cheaper than Pereira is at the moment. So Deulofeu was turning up in expected goals and expected assists a lot more than Pereira was, and generally in underlying stats looks like a maybe not better option, but as he's cheaper, more value for money. And as for Richarlison, we all know I'm not a fan of Richarlison. 1 goal, 1 assist from the last 6 games, 2 returns in 6, 18 points. But when I look at 18 attempts on goal, 16 from inside the box with only 3 on target, that's very, very wasteful. Very wasteful, and Everton at times have looked like a pretty bad side to me recently, so I'm not really looking to bring in an Everton player for my side right now. That could, of course, all change purely because as soon as I start to get a better picture of who is blanking and who has double game weeks, that will start to mould my transfer thoughts. But stay tuned to this series to get more updates on that, and we will again try and do a blank and double game week video to give you guys the latest on the fixture list that you need to prepare for. And then finally we have the Alonso replacements, and I've taken out Nathan Ake because I'm not interested, and we're looking at David Luiz, Van Aanholt and Pereira. Now if I make the transfer tonight, I'm pretty sure I can afford David Luiz. I did want Trent Alexander-Arnold for this spot, but he has of course been ruled out injured for 4 weeks. There's the potential, if the press conference comes up with the fact that Matip will start, I might go with Joel Matip for those Liverpool fixtures and then just upgrade him to Trent when I think Trent is back. But if that is not the case, and I don't know, David Luiz feels the safest bet for me. It is a game against Arsenal, which I'm not too sure about, which could mean I go with Van Aanholt or Ricardo Pereira. I do want Ricardo Pereira. I think his price is going to keep going up because I think other people are going to try and get him in. So I might bring him in just to try and get that rise in value early. But these are the 3 I'm looking at. And to be honest, David Luiz seems to make the most sense to me short term. However, long term, Pereira and Van Aanholt. Crystal Palace are doing well defensively. I do have Wan-Bissaka, so Ricardo Pereira is a very high possibility for me to bring in. That way, when I do the Deulofeu for Pereira move, I have a significant amount of funds to be ready to bring in someone that I feel like I need. So it's going to be Luiz or Pereira. They are the highest scoring defenders out of the 3. Luiz with 32, Pereira with 35. But Pereira is 0.6 million cheaper. Pereira also has 4 returns in the last 6, 1 goal, 2 assists. Luiz has 2 assists. Bonus points, Luiz actually wins out 6-5. Then attempts on goal, 8 apiece. From inside the box, Luiz is more of a threat from inside the box, but chances created, then Pereira shines out above David Luiz with 6-3 chances created. I'm still unsure of this big chance created for David Luiz being higher than chances created, but that is how it is on the site. Just completely baffling to me. But this transfer is mainly to bring in funds for the Marcus Rashford replacement. And if I go with someone like Pereira, potentially I could look at a Spurs midfielder for Heung-Min Son, which will most likely be Dele Alli. Anyway, hopefully guys that has been helpful for you leading into Game Week 23. If you have enjoyed this video, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you are new. We do videos every single game week. If we can't get a video done, we do a live stream. So make sure to subscribe. Hit that notification bell if you want to know when my videos go live, because I've started just releasing them when I've done them instead of having a set scheduled time, purely because the earlier I can get them out, the better it is for the channel. And also, if you are interested, various links in the description down below. You can, of course, if you are interested, join the Patreon for more content. It's a little bit more short form, but as you can see, still some graphics involved, still my thoughts on FPL. So go check that out if you are interested. You can get everything I post on there from $1 upwards. So I think that's a bargain, to be honest. All that being said, I've been JNO, this has been FPL Today, and remember, it's all about the game.